And we're back. Um, as I mentioned, some of the writing you've already done, how your values or your motivations relate to your career field, you talked about in short paper 1. If you haven't got it in yet, it's not too late to do that. I'm these first few weeks, I'm going to be very lenient given the weather situation. I just want you to turn the work in. Um, Again, it's a short paper, 2 pages maximum, can be shorter than that, but gives me an opportunity to comment on how you write and to give you some feedback before the big paper that's worth more points. These short papers are only worth 25 points. All right. In this video, we're mainly going to talk about uh, sentence errors. I have on there a quiz for you to take that is based on something I didn't get to last week, which is I want to go over common sentence errors with you. This is certainly really um, very important, and these are the errors that I really, really, really need you to fix. Okay, so let's talk about sentence errors. So there's something wrong with each of these sentences. The tiger was really unhappy after it bit the mare. It had to go back in its cage. Whew, that's a mouthful. The tiger was really unhappy after it bit the mare. It had to go back in its cage. We've got two different things going on there, right? We've got a tiger that's unhappy, and the tiger has to go back in its cage after it bit the mare. Actually, we've got three things going on there. But clearly, we've got too much there with no punctuation. And several of you said you wanted to work on punctuation in this course, and so we need to punctuate that more correctly. Nobody believed her story that it was really a comfort animal, comma, it was clearly a wild beast. Again, you can't combine two complete sentences with a comma. Although she tied a bow around its neck and named it Honey Pet. What? Something's missing. It's a fragment. So, this is your introduction to terms you've heard in high school. I am confident. Comma splices, where you combine two complete sentences with just a comma. That's an illegal move. Fragments, a sentence missing a subject or a verb. And a run-on, two sentences combined with no punctuation. So, here's an example of a comma splice. Again, a comma combining two complete sentences. It's an illegal move. She walked her tiger down the middle of the street. Nobody stopped to stare. All right, there's more than one way to correct this. You could say, she walked her tiger down the middle of the street, period. Nobody stopped to stare. Nobody stopped to stare is a perfectly fine sentence. Another way to correct it, she walked her tiger down the middle of the street, but nobody stopped to stare. That's correct. But is a coordinating conjunction, and it can combine two complete sentences. A third way is to subordinate one part of the sentence and make it not a sentence. Although she walked her tiger down the middle of the street, comma, nobody stopped to stare. This word although is really, really powerful, and words like it make the subject and verb that follow it not a complete sentence. You couldn't just say, although she walked her tiger down the middle of the street. You couldn't leave it at that because that although makes what follows not a complete sentence. But it's okay to use a comma if you're not combining complete sentences, which in that case you're not. All right, sentence fragments. Incorrect. She walked her tiger down the middle of the street, which nobody seemed to think was odd. and I've already mentioned to several of you that starting a sentence with which is almost always a sentence fragment. The only, it's easy to fix this. You connect it to the sentence that goes before. She walked her tiger down the middle of the street, which nobody seemed to think was odd. Because this is not a complete sentence, it's okay to combine this with a comma, right? Here's another fragment. Although she was warned about animal control. What? The point of the sentence is missing. Although she was warned about animal control, comma, she didn't pay any attention. Right, again, this word although makes a subject she and a verb was warned, not a sentence. It's a very powerful subordinating word. Run-ons, two sentences jammed together with no punctuation. She still brought her tiger with her downtown. The people at the post office were terrified. Okay, more than one way to correct this. She still brought her tiger with her downtown. The people at the post office were terrified. Or she still brought her tiger with her downtown, even though the people at the post office were terrified. Okay, very good. Right? You can combine sentences with commas and fanboys words. Again, this acronym fanboys is easy to remember, but it stands for these coordinating conjunctions: for, and, nor, but, or, yet, or so. And you can make one sentence dependent on the other by adding one of these words. And the acronym is actually a white bus. But the problem with this acronym is it doesn't cover all of the possible subordinating words. A could stand for as, after, although. W, when, whenever, wherever, where, while, which. H, how, however. I, if. T, than or though. E, even if, even though. B, before, because. U, unless, until. S, so that or since. So, how could we fix these sentences? She was sad when the tiger bit the mare. He didn't understand about pets. Again, comma splice there. Need to change that around. Even though she tied a bow around his neck and called him honey pet. Again, even though is one of those subordinating expressions, and it makes what follows it not a complete sentence. We need to combine this with something else. He was her comfort animal. He made her happy. A run-on. We need some kind of appropriate punctuation here, and it would not be a comma. Comma, and he made her happy. She was sad when the tiger bit the mare because he didn't understand about pets. Again, he must refer to the mare. Even though she tied a bow around his neck and called him honey pet, comma, he was still a wild animal. All right, so we have those. So I remind you about those sentence errors that I want you to clean up, and to make sure that you understand what's going on there. By Sunday midnight, I want you to take this sentence errors quiz. You may take any of the quizzes twice to help you get a better score. But again, it's very, very important to me that you get these sentence errors out of your system and stop doing them. It's important because these are the errors that employers actually notice. There are lots of English teacher kind of errors that perhaps the average person doesn't even catch. But these, any educated person catches when you have a comma splice, a fragment, or a run-on sentence. And you want to not have those in any of your writing. I also include down here a conference sign-up sheet Those are some times um, that you can sign up for a conference with me on your scholarship essay. I think that's what we'll go ahead and do instead of peer review. Please do not um, submit your essay here. I'm going to dispense with peer review on this, and I would ask everybody to have a personal conference with me, and that's what this sign up sheet is for. You can sign up here and find a time that works for you, whatever time that might be, and you'll click on it and you'll see this. You will put your name, your email. You'll tell me, do you prefer a conference in person? If in person, it will be in Janes Hall 315 or through Teams. And I expect that you will bring a copy of your essay with you, or if in person, or that you'll have it up on your computer so that I can see it easily on Teams. And you'll simply schedule the event here. If you have any particular questions or things that you want to talk to me about, you can do that. Anyway, this is how you can do this, and I have times on Friday and next Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Um, so I hope that you will take advantage of this. Actually, the conferences are really not optional. I am requiring them this semester, and you get 10 points for just for coming to see me. Um, I think it's that important. And so, um, all right, so that's it for this week. Work is a little bit light. I do want to let you know that next week we will we have some readings that are a little bit longer. You might want to use time here. Here's the course calendar um, that goes through the end of the semester with very specific readings. Again, I may have to adjust the calendar in the future if we continue to have bad weather. But there are two readings for next week: The Heroines Who Take on the Harm and The Last Face Death Row Inmate C. I want you to read both of these and do a typical reading response. Those are those essays are similar to the essay I'm going to ask you to write, a profile piece on someone who is doing a job that is close to your major. So be thinking about who you'd like to interview for this. But first, we're going to read profiles, the same kind of writing where you investigate um, the life story of someone and interview them about their life and their work. And you're going to talk about it in terms of um, what you can find out about your potential career by interviewing these people. And so these two readings are about this is about a group of a couple of women who work with addicts in Huntington, actually here in West Virginia. And this one is about a minister who um, works exclusively with death row inmates. He tries to advocate for them, but he also offers them spiritual comfort in their last days. They're pretty interesting readings, but both are long. So if you have extra time this week, I'd ask you, don't forget to do a short paper. What motivated you to select your current major or career path? Again, not more than 2 pages. And then go ahead and read and do reading responses for these two career profiles. And we'll have conferences and before you turn in your final draft of the scholarship. Thanks, and I look forward to seeing you on Thursday. Bye bye now.